Hi, this is Dr. Ben Morrill. Welcome to episode 37 of Reptile Genetics Weekly. Thankful to have you here. A kind of a year-ending show, last of 2023. We got a lot of fun stuff to talk about. We haven't done a live in a while, so nice to be able to do that. It's a little earlier in the day, but it looks like we've got people join, a pretty good amount joining on Facebook, Instagram, and on YouTube. So hello to everyone, and we will be able to see the comments from Facebook and YouTube really easily, but the ones from Instagram, I'll have to turn out. It's on my phone. We're going to get it all integrated eventually. Right now, StreamYard, it has made it so we can stream directly to Instagram, but we didn't get that to work today yet. We'll try for next time to have it directly through, and that way you all on Instagram will be able to see all the visuals. But then StreamYard's also working on making it so we can see comments from Instagram directly in the same feed that we see Facebook and YouTube comments. So we're getting there. It'll get better and better so we can stream to more people. Anyway, so for test results, sample updates. So this last weekend, we sent out a whole bunch of results, Christmas results for lots of people. And we'll talk a little bit more about Sean going above and beyond to get all of those results out to y'all when he did. And then the next batch of results, we're starting another run the end of this week, and so we're looking at the last of the first week of January or the beginning of the second week of January. So that's like around the 10th, give or take, 2 or 3 days. So it's far enough out. I can't give you a really solid day yet, but we've got another batch coming here before too long. And we do have fast tests, like we talked about before, working. And so we'll be integrating those over the next couple of weeks. And so if you send something in for clown, VPI, axanthic, or DGC, within a couple of weeks, like by the middle of January, we hope to be turning those around real fast. You'll get those results in 2 to 3 days after we receive them. So those will be real quick. But anyway, that's what's coming up as far as sample updates. Kayla, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good.
Good.
And we
got a friend today. Yeah.
How you doing, everybody?
Good.
Yeah.
It's been a long time coming, waiting for this.
Oh yeah. So we have to talk a little bit about DG results before we get to the main part of the show.
That's fair. Do you want me to send Randy downstairs in the meantime, or just leave him here so we can look at his pretty face?
Yeah, you can be here. You might have some comments while we're talking about DG results. If not, then
you really want people to leave, huh?
All right.
So,
want me to pull up your spreadsheet, or you want to talk a little bit about it first?
Yeah, go ahead and pull up the spreadsheet. So when I pasted this in right before we started the show, unfortunately, the way I pasted it didn't put the colors. So as soon as this live is over, I'll get the colors added back in, and we'll get it updated so you all can click on the same link you've been looking at. But unfortunately, right now, we don't have all the colors. What I did want to mention, actually, why don't you bring up Kayla's information?
Yeah. Let's see.
So
there we go.
Kayla Duff from Inspiration Exotics reached out and said, "Hey, I see you've got some question marks on some of these, whether they're visual or not." And she took the time to go through and give me her best guess and her best interpretation. And I said, that's awesome. Thank you so much for doing that. That's very helpful. Would you be willing to look through the rest of them and do it on 300 more or whatever?
And she did it.
I think she's saying she just got out of school and she's got a little time, and she was very, very kind and helpful. So I've got a few more of the question marks changed over. And then also on these new ones, because of Kayla Duff. Thank you once again, Kayla, for taking the time during your Christmas break to help us out. So if you want to go back to the spreadsheet, I'll just kind of scroll through this for those of you that, so we've got results now from 289 through 384. So we're able to do 96 at a time. So the next 96 will be the 385 through whatever 385 plus 96 is. So anyway, here are the most fresh results. And as far as a summary, there's not really a whole lot that's changed from the others. So I think we're getting enough numbers. We have a pretty good idea. 6. There's a few that, I mean, very few, like 1, 2, 3 that, don't seem to line up perfectly with what we expected. It's, pretty dang good with the DGC. And then DGA has been very similar to DGC. But DGC seems to be the best. And DGB, I think maybe we'll stop running DGB for the rest of these because it seems to be the least informative. So we might stop doing that. But if enough of you message and say, hey, I still want to know DGB, then, I'll come back and do more DGBs. But we'll at least still be doing DGA and DGB. So
fair enough. And
so
so
yeah, like I said,
the DGB did like the reaction work this time around, because I know last week we had like the reaction just didn't work for some reason.
Sorry. Just as you started talking, I froze.
Oh no, sorry. Okay, what was the last thing you heard me say?
You just started to say something and then it froze.
Oh no. Okay. I was asking, so the DGB reaction worked this time, but it just doesn't seem to be very indicative of what's going on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, if you look at visual versus no, C pretty much always lines up with that. And then B or A sometimes is right. Or it's also like over 90% of the time, about 95% of the time, it's the same as what DGC says, as far as like DGA might call it homozygous when it's a het, but if you're testing it as a pos het and it came out homozygous, then you'd kind of assume it's a het. So that's still good. It's not very often that DGC is a het and then DGA is negative. It's a very low percentage. It does happen, but not very often. But DGC definitely seems to be the best. So if you're looking at these results and want to know, the best information from one test, you want to look at DGC.
All right. Sounds good.
So yeah, we'll keep doing another set of 96 whenever we can. Hopefully we'll be able to on this next run. I don't know for sure, but we'll try to fit it. And I saw Tommy was in, I think she was on Instagram, but anyway, I know yours are coming up soon. I think like you got cut off by like 3. Yours are like 387 or something like that. So hopefully we can get it on this run. I'll try.
Yeah. We have a question from Jared Smith. So is Desert Ghost just DG, or are y'all doing DGA and DGB still? I guess just for people who are still catching up with what's been happening there.
Yeah. So as far as like a paid test through one of our vendors, right now we've been testing for A, B, and C. What we might drop is DGB because that seems to be the least informative out of the 3. But we'll probably still run A and C. And as far as the fast test, once we're running DG as a fast test, that will be just DGC. And so that you'd get your results in 2 to 3 days after we receive the shed. And that definitely, it seems very clear, is the best of the 3. If you just look at a single test, that's the best one. And A and B, there might be something still going on. There's definitely a reason why we as breeders, at least here in the US, selected animals that also had that other gene or other genes. And so they must be doing something. I think that if we take the time, and I haven't yet, but if we take the time to look at the data, if you can find animals with similar other morphs, but one is like homozygous for DGB and the other one's negative for DGB, but they're both homozygous for DGC, so they're visual desert ghosts, but one is negative for DGB and one is homozygous, then we might see that it helps increase like the contrast or the color or something like that. But I just haven't taken the time. So if one of you has the time, kind of like Kayla Duff, if you have the time to kind of sift through that, that's why we wanted to make those results available so anyone can jump on and look at them. But yeah, DGC is the best test out of the 3. And from paid samples, panels where people gave us the results that they expected for DG and all the other morphs that shed had, like we've requested you all, and you all have been very good about providing those the majority of the time. DGC always lines up so far. So we've looked at 50 or 60 where people gave us that information in a panel, and what we got out of the panel matched perfectly so far. So it's looking really good.
Sweet. All right. Randy, do you work with any DG?
Very little. I just, because of how much puzzle stuff I did over the last few years, I hadn't collected much, but I do have a few.
Awesome. So, do we want to talk about some puzzle stuff?
Let's do it.
All right.
So great question, Jared Smith.
So how far out are y'all from having the puzzle test complete?
So drum roll, please. This is the day.
Yay!
So, yes. So all the validation runs look good. There was only one test that didn't match up, and it was one of Randy's animals. And I talked to him about it. It was submitted as being visual puzzle, but it tested as a het, and it was a new combo that no one had ever done before. So more than likely it is actually a het. So yeah, that puzzle looks good. And we're talking to our vendors, and it will likely be available. So not only puzzle, but also Mojave, Special, Phantom, and Mystic, Lesser and Butter, Bamboo, and Russo. So there will be 7 new ones that will all be available in the next couple of days on at least one of the vendors, and maybe both. And like we've said many times, we're thankful to the vendors. I know it's a rush to do the programming to get things added, but they are working on that. But yes, likely within the next couple of days, you'll be able to send in your puzzle tests finally, along with Blue-Eyed Lucy complex animals. So it's here, and that's why we've got Randy on. So Randy has quite a bit to tell in this story. This saga started, I think, before we even had vendors, right? Like you were already sending sheds in well before. How did you first hear that we were doing the testing, Randy? Do you remember?
I don't even know. I think you had just posted some stuff, and we're looking for some sheds, and I know I reached out to you and told you that, I could provide about 100 sheds for puzzle. And I just started grabbing all the sheds I could. And this is huge. I mean, obviously, this is the one I've been really waiting for. So, it's been a long time coming. I know I see people that I sold 66% hets to, and all of a sudden I see them making visual puzzles, and I'm so excited for them and happy. But this is going to save so much time. And finally here. I know the puzzle group, we've been talking about it back and forth. So
yeah. All right.
Yes, it's taken a lot of work, but I'm so glad that it's nice and clean. Everything's beautiful, and we'll try to get it transitioned over to being a fast test as soon as we can as well, so that we can get right now. It'll be just like all the others, but hopefully within a month I can have a puzzle test that's a fast test. So you send your shed. If you overnight your shed to us, you could have your results in 2 to 4 days is likely what it would be. So be real quick. And then if you snail mail it normal, just whenever it gets to us, within 2 to 3 days, we'll have your results once we have that as a fast test. So
yeah,
it's coming.
Before we continue with the puzzle saga, can we mention Sean and what he did over Christmas?
Yeah, that's right. We do have another quick story here. So I did the analyzing as fast as I could, and when I got done, I handed it over to Sean, and so there's hundreds of results, because it was a really big run again. Hundreds and hundreds of results, and Sean worked through, I don't know how much of the night, both Christmas Eve and Christmas morning. Sean was there. This is a picture of him in the lab there in Texas, one of the labs in Texas, and he was up through the night. I think the 23rd, definitely on the 24th, and then Christmas morning, he was still sending results out to people to try to get everything out to everybody before Christmas. And so those of you on the West Coast, hopefully you got them before you even woke up Christmas Day.
Yeah. I know we had somebody who actually woke up to some here, let me get rid of that branding real quick so it's not in our way. There we go. But they woke up to their test on Christmas morning. This is from Dominic Lucero. His email read, "Thank you so much. After not receiving my test results on Saturday, that being the 23rd, I was not expecting anything until after the first of the year. To receive results Christmas morning, especially confirming that my DG Super Pastel Enchi is double het for clown and lavender, it was above and beyond. Thank you so much for your hard work and dedication. Happy holidays from the Luceros." And they sent us this adorable picture of their family. Like, when I grow up, I want to be as cool as this family. Like, that's an awesome picture.
That is great. It's a beautiful picture.
Yeah.
And he said they're holding, all the animals they're holding are ones they've sent sheds in for testing. And I can see he's here in the comments as well.
Oh, is he really? Hey, there you are.
Yeah.
What's up? Yeah, yeah, no, that's just so cool.
Tell your family thanks for the picture. That's a beautiful picture, and we appreciate that. And the thanks definitely go to Sean for still burning strong on Christmas morning. Get it
Absolutely.
done. That's how Sean is. Do
yeah.
the very best we can, everything we can.
Okay, so back to our puzzle business. So let's see.
Troy knows.
Troy knows, yeah.
Yeah.
So what did you guys have planned? Actually, I don't know what they had planned. So Ben was just like, "Hey, we're bringing Randy on," and I was like, "Okay."
So we do have 3 POS-het puzzle results for Randy. So we figured we might as well. This will actually be a full-on live reveal because we're actually live streaming. Usually it's
we're live
recorded
for this one,
live reaction, but
yeah.
So for Randy, we've got 3 results, and he's got several more. I'll let him talk about those later. He's got several more in for testing that he's pretty excited about. Pretty cool stuff now that we've got this test working. So. Yeah, number 73. You want to tell us a little bit about this animal, Randy? Actually, you know what, Kayla? Skip this one. Let's come to this one last.
Oh, okay. Okay, we got this one.
All right, 225. Tell us about this one, Randy.
All right.
So that's one that I produced. I had a pair of triple hets, a super pastel triple het hypopuzzle pied male, and a pastel triple het female. And this is in my first pairing. I got this girl and a couple others. Still haven't hit the triple, but this is one. I mean, she's got the typical puzzle attitude, and
what's the puzzle attitude?
Well, I shouldn't say that anymore because I have some that are like puppy dog tame, but originally a lot of them were really feisty. And I have some. I've got a few of them that people that come over and visit compare it to like a retic because I have a couple. Yeah, if I'm cleaning the tub, I can't put them on the other side of a 70 tub because they literally come after me. So I have to have a hook and 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 it's so funny. Anyone that knows me, like I was just down 2 weekends ago getting another like 7-8 hours of tattooing, and I'm sitting there thinking to myself, I can endure this pain, but I hate getting bit by a freaking ball python. So I will. I own it. Few of these, I have a hook. I'm like, stay away from me. And they don't even care about getting tapped on the head. Like you tap them on the head and they're just like, yeah, you're done, dude.
So anyway, I started blasting.
Yeah.
I had one clutch this year from their Mojave and possible blackhead and het pied and a couple other genes, OD and Enchi and stuff. And it's like every single one of those is satanic. They're all evil. Kayla got to see one of them.
I love them. They were, I mean, they didn't bite me. They popped at Ben a couple times, but
They are.
I like grumpy things though, so it's fine.
My hypopuzzle male will strike at you while he's locked up. He will, some of them you open the tub and startle them, and they end up bolting. This one, he stays locked and he will just strike at you repeatedly.
Oh my goodness.
Dang. Well, you ready for these results?
Yeah.
So you got a het puzzle.
Good.
All right.
You can mark that one down as a keeper or to sell for a higher price.
No, that one's staying. So
excellent.
All right. What's the next one?
We got
all right. 21. So tell us about this one.
Yeah.
This is one that just actually stuck around for a little while. So this is originally when I made a bunch of het-to-het pairings. This was one I got out of it. And, at first we went back and forth on whether it was visual or het and just realized that it's, 66% possible het. It had the big wide eye stripe. The pattern was a little off, but and it stuck around. Like I said, I sold a bunch of my 66% hets to a guy in Arizona, and he proved a lot of them out. But this one he wasn't interested in, and I had it available for the shed. Yeah.
Well, he'll be kicking himself. That one's a het.
All right.
Yes.
Good. That one will be at the Reptile Super Show here in Pomona in 2 weeks?
That's a beautiful animal.
All right. Yeah, it feels like we just had the last Pomona show. All right. Okay, so that one that we skipped over, number 73.
So tell us about this one.
So this was actually produced by Ricardo Flores of CR Serpents. And he's a good friend of mine. And we've gone back and forth with animals trying to help each other with this project. And, I don't even remember what I sent him. But, you know what? I think I sent him some Xanthic clowns. And I got a pair from him. And, this is one of them. I've got another one I'm waiting on the results for. Probably your next run, Super Pastel DG. But we're hoping these are hat puzzles, because if so, I have 2 females waiting. And as soon as we find out what this is, full steam ahead.
So you do have another male, similar genetics. If this one isn't a het, you can use that other one.
Correct. Yeah.
You don't have to worry about it. This one's a het.
Nice.
You skipped it.
Yeah. No, I was hoping, and because then now hopefully the other one is het as well, because then it's like, well, what do we do? Do we keep them both, sell one? But that's good. At least I got one. So yeah, this weekend I know where he'll be.
All right. Well,
sweet. Getting some work in.
Congrats, all 3. I think somebody actually guessed that up in the comments. Someone was like, all 3 are going to be puzzles.
Troy was right.
Yeah. But Troy
and Jacob have a lot of stuff to say to each other.
Yes, they do. They've been cracking me up over here. I've just been giggling off to the side.
Unfortunately, I'm going to be in San Diego the week before the show, doing a talk at a scientific meeting, and so I can't stay long enough to go to it, and I can't fly back out again. So I'm going to miss this Pomona. I'll miss seeing Jacob and Troy and Randy all, yakking at each other in person.
Oh.
Yeah, I love Troy. Troy's he's a great guy. Yeah, and he does. He always makes everybody laugh, and he's one of the few people in this hobby that there's just, I don't know anyone that could say anything bad about him. He's just they're great people.
Good to hear.
Awesome.
Yeah. All right. So we got a few more pictures that you sent our way, Randy. So what do we got here, guys?
So that's just
I was just going to say, this is one of my favorites out of all the pictures you sent. I love this guy.
Yeah, this is a hypo yellow belly puzzle. Just came out of a recent clutch that I have. So, are you doing anything, Ben, in the puzzle project or no?
Like as far as breeding?
Yeah. Or just have anything?
Nope,
Do you have any?
I don't have any puzzle or cryptic yet.
Okay, well, I don't have anything cryptic unless I don't know about it. So, but we got to do something to get you. Let me look at what I have. Got to get you something puzzle to start towards making some of these for yourself as much as you do for the community and our group. We need to get something puzzle to you.
That sounds good. They're pretty, especially one like this one. That is awesome.
I was just gonna say, unfortunately, this one's a female, so you're not getting this one.
I wouldn't expect as much. That's an awesome animal. I'm surprised with just yellow belly hypo puzzle. Hypo and puzzle are pretty awesome. I guess that's a good place to start. But the yellow belly, that's got some cool color to it.
Well, see, and that's a funny thing is because I have 2 other puzzle het hypos, and one of them's definitely got a more of this kind of coloring than the other one. And so I'm almost wondering if maybe there's something else going on there. And, the whole reason why, like I supported you guys in the first place and all the genetic testing, everyone who's doing it, it's providing such a service for everyone. But there's another one that you have. I'll wait till Kayla gets to it. And I'll talk about that one. Go ahead and go to the next one, Kayla.
There you go. Okay. This one?
Yeah. This is probably one of my favorite animals. And God, I wish I could capture the actual colors. This thing is it's amazing. I love opening the tub, and it's puppy dog tame.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, like you were talking about earlier, Kayla, all the purples on it, and yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get more right now.
Yeah, no, that's so pretty. I like the purple outlines are amazing. Reminds me of like a purple, I think like purple albino retic a little bit. Not so much in the pattern, but just like in the outlines.
Yeah, nice. Coloring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. So we have a few questions here. I think Ben just highlighted one there. You go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, bringing sheds to Pomona. I won't be at Pomona this time. Unfortunately, I'm going to San Diego just one weekend before. I'm going to be giving a talk at the Plant and Animal Genomics Conference. So I get to talk about how we used genome sequencing in a business standpoint to be able to help animal breeders. They're pretty excited to see, as mostly academics and people developing all of these sequencing technologies and stuff like that, they're excited to see how someone has taken what they've made and used it to help, people, businesses, hobbyists. So they're excited to have me come and talk about you all. So I'll have some pictures and results and information from you all and how it's helped us as breeders. But it kind of makes it so I can't really do the Pomona show because I can't stay through that whole week, and I can't fly back out again. So
Fair
it
enough.
kind of kills that one for me. At least me or Sean or both of us will try to come to Pomona, or Anaheim is where they have the other one, right? Near there.
Yeah, it is. If you want, you can have people bring me sheds and I can box them up and ship them out to you if you want.
Yeah. So, if you're willing, it sounds like Randy might be willing to help you out. So go and say some nice things and be nice to Randy, and he'll hook you up. But yeah, I won't be there this time, unfortunately.
Yeah. Let's see. You had a nice compliment about this little guy from Ramirez Royals.
Yeah, the thing is so amazing. I want to kind of almost bring it to the show just for people to see, but I think we've talked about already, Ben. I've got about 150 animals for sale, and I think 36 on Morph Market. So, I don't think I'm going to have room to take just show animals as it is. I think half of my stuff is going to be at least 50% off, and I might even have some flash sales. So maybe the next show I'll have room to bring some of these display animals.
Yeah.
So one other question I wanted to hit.
Yeah.
It says I keep hitting the link in the email and it's still at $289. So Since I messed it up and I didn't get the colors pasted in, I didn't have Sean. So once I get it updated in our online thing, Sean's the one that makes it go live. And since I messed up the colors, I didn't have Sean put it up yet. So as soon as we get done with this live, I'll add the colors back on there. So it's a little easier to see, what lines up and stuff like that. And so later tonight will be when you'll be able to see 289 through 384 or whatever. So sorry about that. It's my bad. I remembered I knew the last time it was that way, but I just forgot. And it was right before we were starting this. So
no, we were at like 2.5. Was that the one where it was like 2.5 minutes in? We were like, no pressure.
2.5 minutes to go. Make it work, Ben. But I did not.
Okay. All right. So next couple, do you want to tell us about these, or did we want to like do slideshow of like some nice puzzle stuff to celebrate the puzzle test being ready while we answer questions?
This is just the red stripe inchy yellow belly puzzles, one I produced here, and I had a sibling to it, a red stripe yellow belly puzzle that I actually shipped off to Ricardo Flores. The super orange dream puzzle, actually a buddy of mine, Dominic, made that, and I purchased that one from him.
That's pretty.
Unfortunately, like everybody knows, my photography skills are horrible. So, I think like Troy has seen this one in person at one of the last show. It's amazing in person.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. Let's see. Did Ben freeze up or?
I'm here.
Oh, okay, cool. Sorry, I thought you froze up there.
Let's get a couple more questions real quick too, and we'll talk some more really pretty puzzle pictures. So I'm getting any word on Monsoon testing. Also getting update on Monarch. Earlier on, Troy said that if I didn't give an update, then I better watch my back in the alley or something like that. I can't remember what it was exactly, but
there we go.
Here you go. Found in a dark alley. Yeah, there you go. That's the one.
Very good.
So both Monarch and Monsoon, I still have. So the first two things that I tried that I thought were the most likely to work did not work. They both bombed on me. So I'm going to try number 3 and number 4 attempts on both Monsoon and Monarch. So hopefully I can get it out of 3 and 4. After I get through the 4th hit, both Monsoon and Monarch gave me 4 hits to try. And if I get through 3 and 4 and they bomb also, then we're going to have to send it back to sequencing again, which means it'll be at least a couple of months to get the sequence back and reanalyze and everything. So cross your fingers, say your prayers, whatever it is that you do to get luck for us. Please do that, because it would be awesome to get it without having to wait for sequencing again. I know many people are excited about both those tests, but unfortunately, both of them have been kind of in the same spot the whole time. And TSK is the same way. What looked pretty clean and should work, it hasn't worked for me. And then GCR, I got something that does work pretty well, but it's like 85% correct. Not high enough for us to make GCR axanthic available yet. So that one I'm gonna try adjusting and try a couple other things to see if I can make it work well. But yeah, that's kind of the update on all of them that are pretty close right now. And hopefully we can get those without having to wait for more sequencing. But if we do need to do more sequencing, we are working on figuring out how to make it so that it'll be like a 1 month wait instead of a 2 to 3 month wait for new sequencing for mapping. So I'm hoping, I'm confident sometime in 2024 we will have that be faster, but I just don't know when that will be.
Fair enough. Let's see. Related to puzzles, if we want a puzzle test and have recently sent in a full panel, can we pay for a puzzle test off that shed as well, or do we need to send in another shed?
So first of all, that the way you worded that, it sounds like you understand this first thing I'm going to say. That's the new tests now, since the panel's so big, The new tests are not going to be part of the panel. So Pip Stalker, sounds like you already understand that, but just so everybody knows, up to this point, we've been able to have any new test immediately become part of the panel. But we said once we get 20 to 30, which we're in that now, we might not be able to do that because there's so many things to optimize. So yeah, right now, Puzzle will not, and the Blue-Eyed Lucy complex will not be part of the panel. As far as whether you'll have to send another shed in, what you will probably want to do is go ahead and I think probably you would have to email Rare Genetics or Rare Genetic
Rare Gen Inc.
at gmail.com.
Oh, yeah.
Rare Genetics, not the ink part. I think it's Rare Genetics, and then you'll get Sean, and he'll be able to tell you if we still have that shed around. The safest would be to send another shed, but you can certainly reach out to us, and if we can get back to you quick and say, yeah, we still got your shed right here, then you don't have to send it in again. But that's kind of going to be a case-by-case basis, whether we can do that quickly for you, or if it's kind of buried. If it was just on the last run or two, we could probably do it pretty easily, but anything past 2 runs ago, it might be a little buried, and it might.
Let's see. It looks like Ben's freezing up on my end.
Oh, sorry.
There you go.
How long ago did I drop?
Oh, just like 2 or 3 seconds. So back up like 2 sentences.
Yeah. So, So anyway, bottom line is if you were in the last run or two, we might be able to do that for you. But if it's further back than that, it's probably going to be faster for you to send another one in rather than us try to find an old one. But certainly feel free to send an email and say, hey, here's my order information. Would you be able to just pull the shed you already have, or do I need to send another one? And we'll let you know on a case-by-case basis.
All right. So I'm smitten with that lesser Spotnose puzzle. That faded pattern is just so pretty.
That is a nice one.
Yeah. Love that. And we got some folks who have been...
So that one...
Yeah. Go ahead, Randy.
So that one was actually by Ricardo Flores at CR Serpents.
Ooh.
That one came over with those 2 Desert Ghost 66% het puzzles.
Oh, you done good, Ricardo.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, I like working with him. He's doing some amazing stuff down there, and so
sweet. And yeah, a lot of folks are really loving that Super Pastel Weirdo puzzle too, and they got a lot of mileage out of the Weirdo bit in the comments too.
Well, and that's what I actually had Ricardo messaged me right before we came on and said to ask you guys about the Weirdo, which, a lot of people know there's the whole talk about the Weirdo being Het Daddy, the Platy. So, yeah, Ben, do you know, is there any talk on that? Do you need more sheds from people?
I don't know if I have really any sheds other than, a couple from you. It's not one that people have really asked very much. So it's not one that I've paid attention. There might be quite a few, but I just haven't had an eye out for them because people haven't been asking. So if it is in fact something to do with the Platy Daddy stuff, then it should be in the same general area as the Blue-Eyed Lucy complex that we are just making those tests available. So that might be something that Dr. Hannah Seidel and her group would be able to figure out fairly quickly. It might be better to send her the sheds than send them to me because she's been the one that's figured all that out.
Yeah, I think we had, I can always put her, we had an episode where we had like where to send things to Dr. Seidel at one point. Maybe we'll have to add that to next week's episode, like have a little slide about it, something like that.
So yeah, and to jump in with another comment or question, Troy's asking, I was told the Bang animal sent in for an OD test and tested negative. Does that mean Bang is more than likely a gene on its own? So the way you asked that question, Troy, I would say no, it's not evidence of that. It certainly could be exactly like ultramel, where there's 2 different mutations in the same gene that do the same thing. And yellow belly is the same way. We have 2 different mutations that do the same thing. To us as breeders, we can't tell the difference between a -1 yellow belly and a -17 yellow belly. We can't tell the difference between a base change ultramel and a large deletion partial inversion ultramel. A and B is what we've called them. So it's possible that Bang is the exact same gene, but it's not identical. So it could be a different mutation in the same gene, and it could be something completely different. I can't tell you that from the testing. And I didn't know, or at least if the information was given about Bang, I didn't see that when I was analyzing. So I don't know which test that was, but yeah, that's what someone reported, that they sent some in and they were negative for Orange Dream. So if that all is true, then really all we can say is that Orange Dream and Bang are not identical mutations, but they definitely could still be the same gene. And so I would just need a bunch of Bang sheds. I saw Scott Selstead was on earlier on Instagram. I don't know if he's still on there or if he switched over to Facebook or YouTube, but Scott he talked to me actually at the Pomona show about Bang. And so, yeah, if I can get a bunch of Bang sheds in, people are confident about, especially Super Bang. If people have made Super Bangs, homozygous version, those would be the best to send in, and we can map it and see if it maps to the same gene as Orange Dream, or if it's on a completely different chromosome, then that would answer that question real fast.
Yeah. All right. Randy, what can you tell us about these? We have more Pastel Weirdos.
Yeah, these are just 2 more out of that clutch. All 3 of these Weirdos, so it was nice. I got a Pastel Weirdo puzzle, Super Pastel Weirdo puzzle, and then the Pastel Lesser Weirdo puzzle females. So yeah, I decided I'm going to hold back all these 3. I had a couple males I hatched. I'm going to go ahead and part with those. But yeah, grow these up and throw other genes into them and see what it does.
All right. Blank page. Cool. And these are just a few other things that are on Randy's Morph Market. We just wanted to have some pretty puzzles to look at while we were answering questions. So let's see. You got any good questions over on Instagram, Ben?
Let's see. I don't see anyone. Someone was asking about the Monsoon test, so that one is still problematic. We're still working on the Monsoon test.
Oh.
Yeah, so I have another question, but oh yeah, you've got another Monsoon. Yep, same.
Yeah. Here, let me grab question. There we go.
Oh, Scott Selstead said he does have Bang sheds for us, so
yeah.
Good. Send them in.
Awesome. Here's the one that you'd pulled up, Ben.
Yeah,
from
so
Bomb
Projects asked about a stranger test. We do not have a stranger test yet. That one I have not sent for sequencing and mapping yet. So if you have a fair amount, especially if you have a homozygous version, super, that would be the best to send in. We would love to get that. I do have a question, Snake Morphs 1 on Instagram. Any determination yet on why DGA and DGB stay with DGC, assuming maybe one is linked, but what about the other? So what it seems like, Snake Morphs 1, I know your name, but we'll keep you anonymous unless you want to bring it up. I've watched his posts for many, many years. We've had genetic conversations on kingsnake.com millions of years ago. So it looks like, yeah, like DGA is on the same chromosome as DGC. So those are on the same chromosome. Those could just be, location similar. DGB, it definitely has to be that we as breeders, at least in the United States, have somehow selected for that gene also. And because it's definitely coming up, like, it would be like you're, selecting for pastel and spider, all of a sudden you're making lots of bumblebees. It's because you're selecting for 2 different genes in 2 different places, but you're doing that on purpose. But it looks like in the United States, at least, when we were selecting for desert ghosts, we were selecting also we thought we were just selecting for the desert ghost look, but we're selecting for that other gene also. And my guess is that it increases contrast or color or both. And so we talked a little bit earlier about it would be cool to look at the data. I haven't been able to yet, haven't spent the time, but if you could find instances where there are animals that are both, maybe it's pastel. So one's a pastel, or they're both pastel desert ghosts, but one is homozygous for DGB and one is negative for DGB, and just see if there's a contrast difference or a color difference. We've seen DGB pop up in albinos and in lavender albinos, which also kind of gives me, that's part of why I think, oh, well, maybe it's a contrast gene, because obviously if you're breeding albinos, you want the most contrast you can get. So, that's what I'm guessing is why we're seeing DGB at such a high percent. Now, it's not as good as A and B, or A and C being the best, but it seems like we as breeders have selected for that other trait without even trying. And so that's what we were looking for in selecting was a polygenic thing. There's multiple genes that we were selecting for. We just didn't realize it until recently. So
interesting. Well, I guess with bomb projects. So based on the data that we have seen, if your snake is homozygous for A, B, or C, or just one of them, is it visual DG?
So the best of the three, the best for predicting what is an actual visual desert to be over 99% correct. So if you get homozygous C, then that should be a visual animal. That it has been a visual animal over 99% of the time. A, it's a little bit lower, like 97% or something like that. A is very close. B is not nearly as predictive as A and C. So C is the best. A is pretty good. B is not nearly as good. Now, before, when we only knew about A and B, if you use A and B together, you're able to get an even better picture. But now that we have C, B, as far as being a visual desert ghost, C seems to do the best job of telling us that. And B, like we were just talking about, maybe something that just enhances the color or contrast or something like that.
Yeah. Let's see. We had some questions from Pip Stalkers. Do you still need more sheds for the Spotnose or Spider complex?
Yeah, so I think Spotnose and Spider we probably have plenty, but yeah, the others in the group, and even Champagne, we probably have enough Champagne. But some of the less common ones, like I think Cypress is part of that. So anyway, those definitely would be helpful. The more of those we can get in, and if you go to our website and there's a little tab or little button for help us, that gives you the PO box to send sheds for developing new tests. But yeah, I think either Dr. Seidel or the Canadian group, Dr. Rafi and Alan Garcia Elfring, one of those two groups I think will be interested in figuring out all of those mutations at some point. They're busy on other projects right now, but it's certainly an interesting question, especially with the neurological disorders that are at least somewhat associated with some of the mutations in that complex. And we might find out they're not all on the same gene. They might just be on genes that are close enough to each other that we can't tell whether they're the same gene or not by breeding. We will only be able to tell by sequencing.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. We have our choice of questions. Ben, do you want to choose one from out of our starred questions?
Yes. So Troy was saying bye. He might already be gone, but thanks for all the comments, Troy. y'all were lighting it up for a while there. So this is from Scott talking about Bang. He said, Super Bang clown sure didn't look like any Super OD clown I have seen. I haven't seen that, so I'll have to check that out. That's pretty cool. It certainly could be something different. I cannot tell you by the data we have right now if Bang and OD are different genes. That I can't tell you. What I can tell you from what people have said, what they've sent in, and it's been negative for Orange Dream, that would show us that they're not identical. They're not identical mutations, but they certainly could be the same gene. But yeah, I mean, if you're seeing something different, that's how it is with the yellow belly complex. You see something different with asphalt and gravel and spark and specter, but they're all on the same gene. So it still could give you something a little different. Same with the blue-eyed Lucy complex. They're all a little different, but they're mutations all on the same gene. So, we'll have to sequence and map bang to be able to find out if it's the same gene near each other or if they're completely separate things, and we'll figure it out. We just got to get the sheds from y'all.
Yeah. Apparently, from Will's Hella Heat, Nathan sent in a lot of bang sheds and all came back neg for OD. So
yeah.
So
that, like I said, that shows us that they're not identical mutations. That's all we can say. They could still be the same gene. It could be like a blue-eyed Lucy or a yellow belly complex kind of a thing. That's possible, but we won't know for sure. It also could end up like axanthics, where there's axanthics that look very similar, but they're on completely separate genes. Like so far, it looks like there's at least 3 different chromosomes that have axanthic mutations on them that cause us to have axanthic animals, but they're in completely different parts of the genome. So it can go either way, and we'll just have to sequence and map the bang gene before we'll know for sure.
Yeah. Let's see. And Scott Selstad Reptiles has bang sheds, so yeah, send them on in.
Yes.
Let's see. We have.
This is another good one. This might be a question. This is from Tommy. This might be helpful to other people too. So if you have A and B results and you're curious about C, what Sean has said we will do is if you send another shed in and give us the same information as when you paid for the original test, and just give us that same order information and say, just write big on the bag, say, please test for C. Then when it comes in, the person that's helping us get the sheds organized and she'll go in, this is Allie, she'll go in and mark them as being received and stuff like that. If she gets that and it says, please test for C, and she sees there's A and B results, then she'll put it in to go to DG testing and it'll get tested for C. If you don't write that on the bag, then if you just send it in with the same information and you don't write that on the bag, she'll see, we already have results for this. They probably sent a second shed before they got the results, and she'll just throw it away. So definitely write on the bag, not on the envelope or anything else, right? Literally on the bag your shed's in. Just write your order information like you usually do from Morph Market or Clutch, either one. Have that on the bag, and then right under it say, please test for C, and we'll get it done for you.
All right. Let's see. We do have a question from, this was from earlier. Where are we at with paint and Sentinel?
Yes. And I know you've sent me some. I remember.
Rec Room Snakes?
Mary? I think it's Mary. It's been a while since I've been at the, I used to always see her at the Charlotte show.
Oh, nice.
But I definitely know Rec Room. You sent me some paint / Sentinel stuff. So we do have lots of sheds. I needed more sheds, and we started talking about that probably about a month ago. But we do have a decent amount of paint and Sentinel sheds now. So those will go, the next batch that we send for sequencing and mapping, those will be part of that. We'll send those in.
All right.
So that means that it'll be at least 2 or 3 months before we'll have an answer on that. It's hasn't been sequenced yet. So.
All right. From Elite Exotics Ball Pythons, is there a discount on bulk test purchases right now?
I believe so. I don't know for sure. Sean and the vendors are in charge of that side of things. But that's definitely, if it's not like literally today, then it will be very soon.
All right.
But not only that, we will have even deeper discounts through most likely January and February. There will be even better, like if they're usually at 10% off, if you're getting 10 or more animals, it'll probably bump up to like 15 or maybe even 20% or something like that. So your percent off is going to be even better through January and February, because we know there will be less sheds coming through. And so we want to encourage you and give you as a thank you for sending sheds when things are a little slower. We'll give you a better price. So yeah, that through both vendors, you should have quantity discounts. Like I said, if you don't literally like this second, they should be adding that very soon.
All right. So we're about 5 minutes shy of an hour being live here. So I was wondering, you guys want to do the why I do this segment?
Let's do it.
All right. So for those of you who haven't seen it before, at the end of our Reptile Genetics weekly videos, or usually close to the end anyway, we pick somebody in the community, or people send in info to us telling us why they do this, what makes the reptile hobby rewarding to them in whatever way they engage with it. And so this time, since we kind of have Randy as our captive guest here, Randy, why don't you tell us why you do this?
Well, I got my first ball python in, I believe, like 93, and it was just a pet. And then through an ex-girlfriend who had a couple bearded dragons for her kids, I ended up starting to breed bearded dragons, and I've dabbled in a little bit of everything. And so when my son was born, when he was probably 1 or 2, I ended up starting to get different animals, and I'd go to my buddy's pet store. I'd grab the keys. I'd go open something up, grab an animal, and tell him, "Hey, I'm taking this." And I'd keep it for a couple weeks, couple months, whatever, and let my son see him. And the ball pythons ended up just sticking. I bought I think just a pastel back then, and then I ended up getting like a cinnamon, and then that's how I ended up meeting Michael Steiner, who's been like my right-hand guy for the last, I think, 18 years. And then, the Bumblebee came out, and I had to do a big payment plan on that because they were still really expensive. And I just, like I tell people, I can't paint, I can't draw. My artistic level is stick figures. So this is my creativity, being able to look at genes, patterns, colors, and try to make something.
Yeah. I mean, it's, I think all of us have a little bit of like, all of us who are into like morph breeding and that sort of thing. There's a little bit of like, I get to play God here, but also it's with animals we adore. So I get that. It's absolutely a creative outlet.
Yes.
I tell people all the time, people doing this for money, especially right now, we've all seen it. There's a lull in the market right now. And that's a lot of that's people that come in more for the money than the animals, and they overproduce. I've had some hardships, and I've told people, I mean, the whole reason I became Dark Cloud Reptiles is I felt like I had a dark cloud over me. I've had some really, I've been kicked in the nuts so hard while I was down, most people probably would have quit. But after just a couple horrible years, just all the way around, when you have a clutch and you get so excited, that's the drive you have to have. The little one that you saw earlier, my banana chocolate hypo puzzle. I can't say enough. I love that thing. And that's the biggest thing, is that's what I get out of this. I get out of it that when I hatch something out, no matter how bad it's been, there's the money aside, because I still do this as a hobby. You guys know I get up at 2:30 for work in the morning. It's seeing those animals. I've got, I've got some chameleons behind me over here, geckos up here. It just, I walk out in the mornings to the building and I see like up here some of my geckos that their little faces just looking at me, and it's like, damn, how freaking cute are those? And that's it. It keeps me going.
Oh yeah.
All right. So how many years have you been doing this now?
I don't even know.
I don't want to age you.
Oh no, I'm old. No, I'm old. I don't ever, it's funny. People ask me that. And the only thing I know is in 93, I got my first ball python because I just got out of the military. It's the only reason I know that date. If it wasn't for that, I used to smoke, and people ask me, when did you quit smoking? I'm like, I don't know. I didn't mark it on a calendar. I just put a cigarette out one day and said I'm not smoking. So people ask me about animals. I can tell you this. My very first incubator was probably late 80s, early 90s. It was a 10-gallon fish tank. I had 2 bricks in it. The first brick got filled up with water to that brick, and it had a fish tank heater in it. The second brick was what held the Tupperware container off of the water, and saran wrap is what. So I don't know. I'm old. Yeah, I've done it a long time. I've had 17-foot retics. I've had a lot of different things, but because I love it, I don't pay attention. I just do it.
All right. Well, that's, it always comes back to, with every single one of these, just how much these animals really just make you so much happier. And we appreciate your story for why you do this, Randy.
So one last thing, because I know we're running out of time in that here. First of all, for people watching this, we talk about the one puzzle that I obviously got wrong. I thought it was a visual puzzle, and it turned out it was a het puzzle, which, obviously that happens. You got new genes in that. On the flip side, there was one of the animals I didn't get you a picture of, or we didn't get it put up, that when I sent all the sheds in, you had tested and told me it was het hypo, but then you also told me it was inchy, which I had no idea. I didn't know there was inchy in the pairing. And, it helps out. All this testing, everything that you guys do for us. And we did the first puzzle raffle and try to get you guys some money for that. So as a lot of people know, the Hatari gene has been something. There's been a lot of controversy because some people there's a granite attached to it, and it really does amazing stuff. And instead of just sitting there trying to throw animals out and tell people this is what they are, this is what they're not, so I've started sending a lot of Hatari sheds in, and hopefully a couple other people will. So this one is a Firefly lesser Hatari male, and I'm giving you guys this one to auction off. So we'll do this, and once this is done, you guys know I have my own gene, the OFY, and I think we'll do something on that too, because what you guys do for the community it's priceless. I mean, so many animals that we'd hold on to for years. I've had females haven't gone for 5 years. Just imagine holding on to a snake for 5 years to find out it's not a het. So this, basically everybody watching, I urge you, get in on some of their raffles. I mean, I don't know what you're going to do on this one. I know the puzzle was $20 a shot, and the person that won it, they paid $40 and they got it. But it helped you guys out in getting these tests for us. So I urge people, whether you like Hatari, you don't like Hatari, if they're going to do $20 again, it's $20, but it's for our community. It's for all of you guys watching. So please do your part in supporting. And if you have new projects, donate one, help them out. Let's get the community what we need. More tests ran quicker.
Yep. And above and beyond that, Randy's also collecting Hatari sheds and OFY sheds. And so we'll hopefully be able to do some sequencing and mapping as well. So that'll be nice to be able to add that to those mutations as well.
That is so awesome of you, Randy.
What I did, I would start cleaning and I'd have to, here's a shed. So I'd stop my cleaning so I could run and write on my little sticky note that I send you with what it is and that. And it took me forever to get cleaning done. So I've gotten smart now, and I put sheds. They're just hanging. You can see them.
Yeah,
Hey, nice.
Entertaining. So, yeah.
that's a good way to do it.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Randy. That's Ben, did you know about this before?
We've kind of talked about it. I know Randy had some more that he wanted to donate. It's definitely very, very kind and very helpful, and also is a cool opportunity for one of you out there to be able to get a new gene or add to, if you're one of the few that already has it, add to what you've got. So that's
absolutely.
Cool.
So we'll have to put together the auction for that. So thank you.
It does amazing stuff. I have some animals I show people. It's a really, really great gene. But even if you don't like it, the guy who won the puzzle traded it. He ended up, somebody contacted me, said, hey, I got your puzzle. I traded it. So even if you don't want in on the Atari project, $20. That's all it takes. Trade it to somebody who does if you don't.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. All right. Did we have anything else we wanted to touch on before or after that, Ben?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Just, thank you once again. Like we talked about a little bit earlier, this has been a very long process that Randy's been a part of. So
yes,
I would say it's been probably close to 2 years.
Probably close to 2 years. Having a little freeze on Ben's end there.
You know, send a big old package stuffed with all kinds of sheds in it. Most of them being puzzle or het puzzle, and so it's been a labor of love. I know that other groups, other places are interested in working with puzzle as well, but it's been difficult to collect enough sheds to make it happen. And so Randy was able to help us make it happen here in the U.S. and we're excited to have it be available. I know Sean's mentioned as well, and Justin Kabelka, when we've talked about it, they've all gotten lots of questions about when's puzzle going to be available.
Yeah.
And
it's here.
Definitely Randy played a huge part in making it. It still took a long time, but it would have taken even longer if we didn't have the sheds to make it happen. So thank you so much, Randy, for sticking to it and for doing raffle along the way to get some money to help make it a little bit faster. And now we're finally there.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Well, let's see. Before we finish up, we have just a couple more questions. We'll take just these 3 more that I have. Any news on Tri-Stripe, if we have it?
I definitely don't have enough sheds yet. So any of you that have Tri-Stripes, especially Homozygous, the visual version, I definitely need more sheds. So send them in. You go to our website, raregeneticsinc.com. There's a little place that says help us in the menu. Just click on that. That'll give you the P.O. box. It's just going to cost you a stamp, just a normal snail mail. You can usually send, as long as you're sending, like we ask for, the size of a quarter in a Ziploc bag, you can usually send at least 4 with just 1 stamp. And if you're going to send a whole bunch, that's great. Maybe it'll cost a little bit more than a stamp, but that's all it'll cost you to get it to us. And once I have enough Tri-Stripes, we'll get those to sequencing and mapping and make it happen. We just don't have enough sheds yet.
There you go. We have from Scales and Tails Breeding. Do you think there will ever be a point where you will have every morph sequence?
So we've already sequenced the whole ball python genome. So we've sequenced all the places there are morphs. We just don't know where they are. So yeah, I definitely believe over time we'll just keep finding more and more as the sequencing gets cheaper and the mapping gets easier and faster. We'll find more and more, and not only in ball pythons. I hope in 2024 we'll have some hognose morphs. We'll have some, at least 1 or 2 or 3, and 1 or 2 or 3 for corn snakes, and maybe some other species as well. I hope we'll get some sex determination tests in lizards and a few other snake species. And there's several things that we'll even branch outside of ball pythons for. that I'm pretty excited about. But yeah, we'll be able to learn more and more. It's been an exponential as sequencing costs come down and our ability to analyze data, which at some point I would imagine people will figure out how to use AI to help us with the data analysis for this kind of work. And the better we get with the data analysis and the cheaper the sequencing is, the faster we can find all these things.
All right. And then lastly, from Logan Stark, hey, Rare Genetics, I've had partial test results for over a month. Is this normal? And do I need to send another shed?
So we should message you if we've done multiple attempts. We usually try at least 2 times. And if we still are not able to get all of your results, then we'll likely ask for an additional shed. It certainly could be that the quality. So all of the tests have a little bit different sensitivity. And so if you have a little bit of good DNA there, the really sensitive tests like PIDE is really sensitive. So most likely you got a PIDE result, but something like DGB, it seems to be, I have to have a lot of good DNA there for that to get picked up. So it doesn't surprise me too much that that's happened. But we will definitely try at least 2 times before we'll ask you to send another shed. But you can certainly, if you have a.
And we've got a little bit of a freeze there. Poor Ben's internet sometimes likes to be mean to us during the streams. So give it just a second. Hopefully Logan's still in the chat. I starred that just to make sure that we got an answer to him. And there you are. Welcome back.
Yeah,
yeah, we can hear you now.
It's Christmas break, so all the kids are here, and they're all probably on 2 different electronic devices at the same time.
Oh, yeah. That's fair. Yeah,
but yeah, so if you want to go ahead and send in another shed, I wouldn't send the exact same shed because we'll probably get the same results. But if you get a fresh shed and want to send that in, just put the same order information that you did before, and then write right on there so that Allie doesn't throw it away. Right, to help with partial results. And when she looks it up, she'll say, "Oh yeah, we've only got some of these," and so then we'll have a fresh shed that we can use and hopefully get the rest of those results for you.
Perfect. All right, I think that's all we got today, guys. Anything else before we call it a wrap?
From me, just to thank you. We had lots of people on all 3 platforms today. I think at one point we were close to 100 people on here all at the same time. So that's pretty cool when a lot of people are probably still at work. So that's awesome. Thanks so much. It's been a really fun year, learned a lot and got a lot better and more experienced, and should be able to do a lot more things in 2024. Looking forward to that. And once again, thank you, Randy, and the rest of you that send sheds in and provide support, and especially excited to do another raffle here pretty quick, a raffle or 2 from Randy, and anyone else that wants to do it. We will certainly be happy to do that and be able to turn around and use that money to make things more tests and faster tests.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Thank you, guys. Make sure to like and subscribe. Leave a comment on our YouTube channel. It helps our algorithm help us reach other reptile keepers and people who I guess maybe don't have reptiles but lurk on what we do. There is a bit of that. So, all right. Thank you, guys. And I guess we'll call that a wrap.
Sounds good. Thanks again.
All right. Later, guys. Outro in 3, 2, 1. Ending stream.